Troy Kearns, real estate investor, and in today's video, I'm gonna tell you how to qualify for your first home, loan. If you're watching this video right now, it means you are either considering or in the process of buying your first home, or maybe you didn't know what you were doing when you bought your first home, but you're thinking about buying a second home and you don't remember, it's been so long, so you're gonna watch this video to figure it out. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end, because every single step of this process you're gonna need to understand before you buy your first house. The first thing that you're going to need to do before you get a home loan is go and pull your credit. So how do you do that, and what's the best way to do that? Well, I've got the answer for you. It's called Googling freecreditreport.com. And then you go to my free annual credit report. They'll walk you through the steps in order to get your free credit report. And if you've got bad credit, you need to watch our video about how you can boost your credit score. But assuming that you have a great credit score, then we're gonna get into what you need to do. So you're gonna pull your credit report, you're gonna download it, and you're gonna go through it. And you need to focus on what the middle one is. So you have TransUnion, Experian, and TransNation. Those are your three major credit bureaus. So what does that mean? So once you download your free credit report, you're gonna go through and you're gonna find out what is my credit score. Assuming that you've got at least a 700, the next step that you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to sit down with a home loan consultant. Do not go to Bank of America, do not go to Chase, do not go to Wells Fargo, do not go to any of those places, even if you end up borrowing your money from them, because they are not home loan consultants. In fact, let me break this down a little bit for you. In order to lend money in the United States, you have to have what is known as a safe MLS number. So that was adopted from the Dodd-Frank Act, which says that anybody who's lending money needs to understand the Truth in Lending Act, they need to understand this, they need to understand that, or they can be a federally chartered bank and they don't need to understand anything. So that means that most of the guys who are sitting at the desk at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or Chase fit that last criteria, which is they understand nothing. They just work everything through a big mill and you're not gonna understand anything. But if you work with a home loan consultant, and I've got several, so if you want any of my home loan consultants who lend in all 50 states, definitely leave me a comment below. This is the best way to find them these days. Go to Zillow and go find the guys with the highest review count and look for lenders, okay? There's a search tool on Zillow which will allow you to go, and these are people who pay money to get your lead. Or ask a referral from a local agent, right? Like myself, agents who work with people who close multiple loans. Then you're gonna wanna sit down with that person, you're gonna do what is called fill out a 1003. That's a full loan application. That's the Fannie Mae standard 1003 underwritten guideline that 99% of all lenders use to fill out their loan application. Once you fill out the loan application, the lender is then going to pull your credit. Yes, you did pull your credit, but it was a soft hit. It was a free credit report. So the lender is going to pull their own credit report, but you would already know it now, so it's not going to be a big surprise to you that it's a 700. Great, fantastic. You're on to the next step. So you've got your 1003. Now you've got your credit score. He's verified your income, because the 1003, they're gonna verify the income, they're gonna verify your debt, and with that credit report, they're gonna verify all your outlays, and he's going to give you a pre-qualification letter. That pre-qualification letter is going to be a pre-approval amount of X number of dollars, which is based on your income and debts and your credit score, how much, and generally it's going to be as much as you can possibly qualify or are comfortable with. They're going to try to max you out. Let me just give you an example. Let's say you make $100,000 a year and you only want to buy a house that's worth $100,000. Let's say you qualified for a house that is up to $800,000. Well, you don't need a pre-qualification letter to go buy that house that says you're qualified up to $800,000. You just one that says I'm qualified up to $100,000. So find out what you're qualified for, find out what you're comfortable buying, and then go shopping, right? Who doesn't like going shopping? Me, except for houses. I love shopping for houses. So this is why I'm talking about this video, okay? So after you get your 1003 filled out, the lender pulls your credit, you've had a loan consultation, now you're going to go and start looking for properties. What do you need to do in order to get approved, right? We gotta have a high credit score and we have to have a good lender. The other question that we're gonna need to ask the lender is what fees, discounts, points, they're gonna call them all sorts of fancy words. Can I get a good faith estimate? You're gonna wanna ask this person for a good faith estimate. A good faith estimate is going to tell you how much money you're gonna have to come out of your pocket to close this loan. Did I mention that? You might have to come out of your pocket to close the loan. Yeah, there's things called closing costs. So you're gonna wanna get with that lender and find out, hey, how much are my closing costs? That's all gonna be on your good faith estimate. So you wanna make sure that you get it, when you're done with that loan consultant, that you get a good faith estimate. It's gonna tell you, how much interest am I gonna pay on the lifetime of this loan? What's my amortization schedule gonna be? How much am I gonna pay in points and fees? And how much do I need to bring in? These are important because when you go shopping, that's gonna tell you what you can buy. And if you're in a seller's market like we're at right now, you're not gonna get the seller to pay for anything, generally speaking. You're not gonna get them to contribute with your closing costs. So let's get into that. So now knowing that you go, hey, let's say you got done with that loan consultant meeting and you're like, hey man, I'm so happy, let's go shopping, but I only have $5,000 in my bank. He says that's cool to close a loan, but I need help with my closing costs. What does that mean? I need help with my closing costs. Is he gonna help me? No, he's not gonna help you. What he's telling you is you need the seller to help you. So you're gonna want the seller to donate some of that money. What's the best way to get that done? Raise the price of the house and put that into the deal. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're buying a house for $300,000. A good estimate of closing costs is gonna be 1% to 3%. 1% is gonna be super low, and closing costs are gonna be it's just the way of getting you. It's gonna be your title and escrow fees. We're gonna go into that a little bit more in detail. It's gonna be your lender's fees, and it's gonna be lots of other BS, like HOA fees, like certificates of resale packages, any sort of way that somebody can grab some of your money when they're going through a closing of a transaction, they're gonna do it right now. But it generally is between 1% to 3%. So when you make an offer on that house that's $300,000, and let's say you already know it's a good value at $300,000, but you wanna make sure you get it, offer them $309,000, but with 3% to go towards your closing costs. That way the seller finances your closing costs. They get the money that they wanted, which is the $300,000. You put it in $309. So as long as it appraises, you'll get your closing costs paid by the seller. That's a little cool hack. Just if you didn't know that. I remember when my first realtor was explaining that to me, I didn't even understand what it was. So if it's confusing to you now, don't feel embarrassed, don't feel ashamed, just understand there's costs associated with just transferring property from one person to the other, okay? There's just costs associated. And especially when you finance it, there's more costs, okay? So if you were just to give it to one person, there'd be costs associated with it, right? If you're gonna finance it, there's more costs associated with it. When you go with that initial loan consultation, you wanna ask the lender, how long do you need to close the loan? And if he says, I can close in 21 days, let's not go with that. That is a very fast timeline. You want between 30 and 45 days in today's market. Everything's behind. 45 to 60 days is realistic. People are going to want to close the deal in 30 days. That's what people are going to want to see happen most times. They want to get their money. Generally, when they have their house on the market, they want to sell it unless they dictate otherwise in their agent-to-agent remarks, right? So generally speaking, when you're selling a house, they'll have a section that the agent can talk to the agent that's not for public use only. And they'll say like, you know, hey, seller would like to do a lease back. In that case, they're not as motivated, but generally speaking, when they're looking to be done with this, they're looking to be done. So you want to make sure that your lender can close in the timeline that they need. Like, let's say you make an offer on this house, we'll call it 123 Main Street. You offer 123 Main Street for $309,000. They come back and you say, hey, I want to close September 1st. And they're like, you know what? We need to close July 25th. You talk to your lender. He says, no problem. Great. Good to go. But if he says problem, then you may want to pump the brakes and hold up. If he can't close his loan on time, you may lose your money. Because when you go into contract, there's two things that make a contract valid. Well, there's many more things than that, but the two things that are majorly important is a meeting of the minds and consideration. Consideration is going to be your earnest money, right? That's going to be the deposit that you put down on the house, right? And then you ratifying the contract with both parties signing it makes the contract valid. So if you don't put your earnest money in, you don't have a valid contract. If you don't sign it, you don't have a valid contract. Assuming you have a valid contract. Once you put that earnest money in, you're gonna have your due diligence. If you don't know what due diligence is, watch our video on due diligence, okay? You need to know what it is. If you have your due diligence period and you know what it is, you're gonna have 10 days, 14 days, whatever it is to go find whatever you need. Let's say within that time frame, you discovered that you're gonna need not only more time on your loan, but during the inspection period, something came up that you're very concerned about. At that point in time, you're gonna wanna let them know, hey, I'm concerned about X. Don't tell them about the loan's taking taking too long. They don't need to know that. Don't volunteer that information. But you're gonna say, hey, I'm really concerned about X. Can I get more time for my due diligence? Always extend your time for due diligence if you're unsure about the property. That way you don't lose your earnest money. So now you're moving down the road. You've got your deal accepted. You've been through your inspections. You're ready to close on the property. You've talked to your lender. He's got your deal ready to go. He says, hey, we've got docs. What the hell are docs, man? He's got your loan documents. That means all you gotta do is sign 96 pages of paper and the house is yours. What you're gonna do is after you identify your house, after you make your offer, after you go through your inspections, during that inspection period, you're gonna ask for stuff, right? You're gonna ask for them to fix this. You're gonna ask for them to fix that. You're gonna ask for them to give you a credit for this. You're gonna ask for them to give a credit for that. It's a second bite of the apple. It's a renegotiation. Assuming that you want the house, you got past all the crap, then you're gonna go to docs. You're going to say, my earnest money is now hard unless it's contingent on financing. But if it's contingent on financing, really you could have the loan blow up at the last minute and you can get your money back. But assuming that your financing contingency has been satisfied, then you're gonna go to docs. That means that you're gonna go to a title company or they're gonna come to you and you're going to sign your life away. And then they're gonna fund the loan. They're gonna put a deed of trust into your name. And you're gonna own that property subject to the current mortgage. That's how you buy your first house. Man, if you don't buy a house watching this video, man, you are not taking action. I'm just kidding. But seriously, it's a scary proposition when you buy your first house. I remember I bought my first condo in 2004 and it was sure scary. And then I bought my second house in 2004 and I was even more scared. And now I'm at my 300th and I don't even care anymore. I'll buy houses sight unseen. If you're not where I'm at, which I don't expect you to be, which is why you're watching my channel, then make sure you just follow my advice. Because when I first did my first loan, I didn't even read nothing. And I remember I had a prepayment penalty, which is something that you definitely want to talk to your lender about. You do not want prepayment penalties, right? That means if you pay it off early, they penalize you. All right, so now you've got all the details that you need to be successful buying your first home. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you smash the like button. If you didn't, smash the like button either way, and give us a shout out on the comments. Let us know what other videos we can bring to you. Peace.